Greetings, this is Mr. Solomon, another edition of Minecraft EDU for schools. This is our Minecraft club. This is our second week on a project called House Replica Build. So what I did was I gave students pictures of two different types of houses, and I used creatables to upload it and then import it into the game. So this is one type of house that students were asked to replicate. Those are in all the odd numbered areas. And then if you look at this one, these are the even numbered areas, and they're building another type of house. The challenge with this is figuring out what goes in the back. So students are seeing the front of the house, but they're not seeing the sides or the back. So how big the house should be has been a bit of a challenge. So students are working in groups. They have their picture on the wall, and then they're going to start building it. And you can see the different states of progress that everybody's in. So this is one of our even numbered groups. And if we look at this house, you can see how close it looks to the picture. Okay. So we just started class, so I'll do another video segment at the end when students leave, and we can see how far they got today. So this is the beginning of day number 2 in Minecraft Club. That house looks a little big, but they're getting there. I like seeing kids in the room while I'm recording these videos, so you can see what kind of work they're doing and how they're working on it. So that's area 1 to 8. Now we're going to check out areas 9 through 17. They're working in groups of 2 or 3. And so there's our picture. And there's our house. So you can kind of see both. I'm not sure what this is on the left. They may have to work on that. We did a flyover earlier to look at what kids are doing. There's another example. You can see the house off in the distance. Building the roof's going to be a challenge. How to build that slanted A-frame type of roof. There's another group. So I told kids to work on the outside first. So I'm not sure why some people are working on the inside. I'll have to talk to that student. Okay. These are the darker houses. Let's see what kids are doing. Alright, that's it for this section. Got a couple more areas to look at. Let me turn up my speed here so I can go much faster. Okay, so now we're going to check out groups 17 to 24. So this is a good idea that these guys did. So they have the house, and it's right behind them. So all they have to do is keep turning around to look. Because orientation is important with a project like this. How are you going to look at your guide and then spin yourself around to look at what you're building to see how close it is? We talked about measuring the sides to see how wide everything is, counting the blocks. This group is using a different color. So they got some work cut out for them. That's number 24. And I think that's everybody. There might be one more group up in the 27th. I'm waiting for this to render. Here we go. Okay, so there's our house. Looks like their front. Not quite sure where the front of their house is. It's going to be a challenge. So for some groups it's coming pretty easy. Other groups it's a little more of a challenge to figure out how to get these houses built exactly the way that they look in the picture. So I'll check in at the end of class or next time and see what their progress looks like. Okay, we're back. We just finished completing day number 3, or week number 3 of our house replica build. And so we're now going to take a look and see how students did. This was their last day to try to do this. So we'll start with sections 1 through 8. So not quite sure what this group was doing. They were working in groups of 2, sometimes 3. So this is the picture of the house, and you can tell that some groups don't quite have the house down the way that it looks in the picture as I spin around. But if we look at some of the others, they came a lot closer. So you can see that the variety of abilities for students became apparent. So this one looks pretty close. If I look at this picture And then look at what they built. They have a pretty good basis. They even had time to decorate the inside with furniture. I see lights. I see ladders. There's the upstairs. More lights. So you can see that some groups had a better grasp on the replica than others. I think if I did this again, we would spend more time in the planning stage and deciding exactly how to tackle this project and where to begin. Because we're looking at the materials, I see glowstone, I see trapdoors as shutters, I see fences. These are made with either slabs or steps. And if we look at the house here, that looks pretty close. So a lot of these groups did a nice job. Accidentally hit a waypoint there. Okay, so there's the three in groups 1 through 8. Let's go look at the next section. So now we're going to go to area 11. There's the beginnings of it. And if we look, looks like they still had some work to do. What I'm noticing is students spend more time worrying about the inside of the house and decorating the interior than they are with the exterior, because that's what we talked about. This is a nice replica. This one's pretty close. And so if we look at the picture again, you can see. You notice those waypoints up there? I can get rid of those because I have a mod. It's called Arrays Mini Map. So if I just click here and remove these two, then it takes out the distractions. So that's a pretty good replica. This one here. Then we're looking at the dark house. Looks alright. Looks like somehow their picture went away off the wall. So that's the beginning of a house. Okay, I think students are struggling with making the roof. A lot of students aren't used to making slanted roofs. There's a couple techniques to do that. Usually we use stairs. Is probably the easiest. Put steps side by side to make the A-frame house. This is a good example right here. These are done with stairs. Okay, so let's go look at the next group's finished. Not everybody got done, but we don't have enough time to spend every week doing this because I wanted to go on to other things. So there's our house picture. And if you look here, that is really close. So if we look at this picture and then go back to the original, that was close. This was done by 5th graders. And they even had time to decorate the inside. So you can see there's paintings. He put a dinner table down. There's a computer monitor upstairs. He's got an upstairs room. So as students finished, some finished earlier than others, then they can start putting items inside the house and figuring out how to do the outside too. So if we look, I don't see that there's any windows, but they had to decide on their own how the sides and the back of these houses should look. But that was a nice job. That's probably the closest I've seen to the original. So there's our picture. Not quite sure where the front is. Yeah, it looks like they attempted to get the front of the house down, but not quite there. You can see how it looks compared to the picture. So you have one more group to look at. This is groups 25 to 32. I think I had 1 or 2 students. So there's our picture. And then if we look at this house, not quite there. So students still get into that habit of making box-shaped houses. I think that's what they're used to building. And so giving them something to follow that hasn't been created by them makes them use more critical thinking skills and problem solving and trying to figure out how to make these houses look like the picture and going through the plan. So that's the end of our project. I'd say overall students did a pretty good job. I sort of know what I'll do differently next time is spend more time on the planning phase and deciding how to build these rather than just letting them go and start building right away. Thanks for watching.